Hey, I'm Allison. I'm a reading specialist and I help parents of kids ages 6 through 10 who are having a little bit of trouble learning to read. In this video, I'm going to explain how to know if your first grader is having a hard time reading and also what to do if they're struggling to learn to read. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, make sure to do that now, and then also hit the little bell so that you don't miss out on any of the brand new videos that I post about helping your child learn to read. Okay, so first let's talk about what typically happens, what type of instruction, what skills kids are learning as they learn to read, specifically in first grade. Now, when I'm saying first grade, I'm referring to first grade in the United States. If we're talking about Canada, for example, sometimes the ages of the kids are a little bit different. However, the overall trajectory and how this unfolds is going to be the same no matter where you are, as long as you are in an English-speaking country, right? That your kid is learning to read in English. Okay, so in first grade, kids typically are coming from kindergarten where they learn the letter sounds. In kindergarten, kids may have also learned to read CVC words, simple three-letter words like hat or run. Those are CVC words, right? And so often in first grade will start the year with the teacher reviewing CVC words. They will work on things called digraphs, which are two letters working together to make one sound, like SH or CH, consonant digraphs. And what the teacher will do typically is keep teaching different phonics skills. And as kids learn these phonics skills, they will learn to read harder and harder words. Also, kids will be working on learning high frequency words usually, which are words that appear often in texts, like the word and or the or what, those words that appear common. And so as your child is learning more and more phonics skills and more high frequency words, it should become easier for them to read words instantly. Now, sounding words out is a necessary part in this process. Kids have to read sound by sound at first, and they have to see a word many times before they can read it instantly. So in first grade, a lot of these foundational building blocks are being laid, again, with the goal of toward the end of first grade, they're reading a little bit more fluently and it sounds a little bit more natural, and they're not having to sound out all these words. Now, in the United States, in the first half of first grade, your child may not be able to read a ton, and that is normal. But let's say we get to the second half of first grade, and maybe your child can't read full sentences. Maybe they're having to sound out every single word, even in a very simple book like that you get from school. They're having to sound out every single word, and maybe you have them read it again, and they're still sounding out tons of words. Maybe they're still struggling with even just learning the letter sounds or those simple CVC words. You're working on words with them, or they're working on them at school and they have lots of practice, but they're not remembering those words. These are all signs that your first grader might not be where they need to be in terms of reading. But of course, also ask your teacher, right? Ask your teacher, is my child behind, so that you know for sure. Now, if your child is behind, or someone tells you your child is behind, an educator, or if you even suspect that your child is behind, what you want to do is you want to take action. Because here's the thing. If your child is in first grade, this is the perfect time, if they're struggling, for them to get caught up and to get extra help. If you wait, what will happen is that your child's brain doesn't build the neural pathways that it needs to read. And as a result, your child is losing tons of time while the other kids move ahead. And so even if, they start getting help later, extra help later, there's this gap between them and the other kids. And it is very, very difficult to close that gap. It's not impossible, but it's so much harder. It takes so much more. So the easiest and best thing you can do is to start working with your child and giving them extra help now so that you don't end up with this gap later on. This is also really important for their own self-confidence because, let's say in first grade, learning to read is a little bit hard, and you fix the problem and you're giving them extra help and they're getting what they need. But let's say they're in first grade, they're starting to struggle, they don't get extra help, you don't take action, they continue on in school. Reading continues to be very, very hard for them. Their other classmates are up here. They start to notice that they're down here. They start to feel bad about themselves. They start to believe that they can't do it. And that further impacts their reading performance. So really, there's so much to lose if you wait, and there's nothing to lose if you get them extra help. Because there's nothing bad about a little more reading practice, right? That will not hurt your child in any way. Keep it fun, of course. Use a fun program like Rising Readers. I'll include a link in the caption for that. But there's nothing to lose. But you do, unfortunately, have so much to lose, and your child has so much to lose if you wait. So if your child is struggling with reading, they're in first grade, now is the perfect time. Let's jump in and give them the help that they need. Now, certainly, kids can get extra help at school, and that is so great if they do. But here's the thing. I have worked in many different schools in many different roles, and across the board, I have seen that schools are not well equipped to truly handle reading problems. Your child may get extra services. That's great. That's awesome. But they're likely, more than likely, not going to get enough practice time at school. That's just an unfortunate reality, at least in the United States. It's funding, it's number of teachers, it's time in the day. There are just these restrictions that no matter how good your child's school is, the time is what the time is, right? And they only have so many teachers. So this is why I really advocate that parents jump in and they don't just sit back and say, oh, somebody else will take care of this problem. It's actually pretty simple for you to do things at home that will help your child get on track. And so rather than wait or rather than hope that somebody else will take care of the problem, you can take charge. And a really easy way and a free way to take charge is with my free parent guide. This parent guide is going to help you understand, what your child is struggling with in reading, and also give you some resources to help you start working with them. Because it doesn't have to be rocket science what you do with them. It can be really simple, but those simple things that you are doing at home can make a big difference. So my recommendation, if you don't have our free parent guide, grab that now. And if you really want a full program to follow and just everything laid out for you, I'll also include a link to our Rising Readers program that's designed specifically for parents of struggling readers, where you learn how to work with your child, you get all the materials to do so, and I help you along the way. There's that support element too. So I'll include the free guide and the link to Rising Readers in the caption. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this was helpful. Before you leave, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.